सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।
Namaskar. Very warm welcome to all the viewers and learners in this very special live interaction of CIET NCERT named Sahyog. I am Renu Bhatt with you all and you are watching us live on PM eVidya channels from channel number 6 to 12. Apart from all those channels, you are with us on our YouTube channels as well, that is NCERT Official and NCERT PM eVidya class number 6 to 12. And dear learners, before we proceed further, let me give you a brief about Sahyog sessions. And as you all know, Sahyog and Paricharcha sessions are held under Manodarpan initiative, and it's a brilliant initiative by Ministry of Education as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, so that we can provide psychosocial support to all the students, their parents and teachers across the country, and we generally talk about their mental well-being as well in these special sessions. And the topic that we are going to discuss today in this specific session is importance of inculcate good study habits for better performance. So what exactly is good study habit and what are bad study habits, how you can fix them, and why it's so important to have and inculcate good study habits to perform better in your studies. We have joined by our esteemed experts. So without any further delay, let's quickly meet them. You are Miss Anupama Shastri. You are from RIE NCERT Mysuru. Very warm welcome, ma'am. And we have joined by our practicing counselor as well. You are Miss Anuradha PV. Very warm welcome, ma'am. स्वागत है आपका.
Swagat. Thank you.
And dear learners and viewers, in case you have any query or you want to know more about study habits, what are those habits, what are good study habits and how you can inculcate them, you can reach out to us through our various mediums. We want you to call us on our telephone number, that is 8800-440-559. Either you can drop a mail as well. Our email address is sahyog.ncert@ciet.nic.in. And in case you have joined us through our live streaming, then you have to go to the live chat box and then only you can drop your comment out there. Our expert will be more than happy to answer all your queries and doubts if you have any, and we want you to perform and participate in this particular live interaction in huge numbers. So we are waiting for your participation, dear learners, but before that, till then, let's start this session quickly. And Anupama ma'am, we want you to start this session and we want to know at the very beginning of this session, what are study habits, ma'am? Please explain. Anupama ma'am.
Yes. Study habits refer to those kind of behaviors that influence a student's life. As in, when you have set yourself a routine for study, so those kind of routines that a student follow influences his examination or his purpose or anything like that. So study habits refers to those behaviors or routines that students adopt when studying, or you call it time management or note taking, or some kind of concentration strategies that they try to adopt for better reading. These habits influence more on academic performance. They help improve the academic performance when it is followed in a definite manner. So many people have defined study habits in their own terms. So they mainly tell that it is the degree to which the student engages in regular acts of study, as in following a proper routine. For example, when you have a study habit, so it is like choosing a better place for study. That may be a study habit. And then doing practice tests before the exam, that is a study habit. And then reviewing the notes daily, that whatever he has covered during his class times, that is a study habit. As well as practicing daily reading. That is also a study habit. Next slide.
Okay. So, study habits refer to the behavior and routines that a student adopt when studying, right, Suma? So, there are good study habits as well, as you have just discussed, and there are some bad study habits as well. So, Anuradha ma'am, we want you to explain to all the viewers and learners that what exactly are bad habits and how we can fix them, ma'am.
Yeah. So being a student, sometimes, not sometimes, I think most of the time it becomes very challenging to study and retain what they have studied. In order to study or know good study habits, you also have to know what are the bad study habits, because it is very important to identify the bad study habits that you're actually following, so you can correct them and develop some good study habits. So some of the bad study habits, like I would tell is like, when you study without a plan, you don't have a plan what to study. You don't have any structured schedules to follow. So what happens is, when you study without a structured schedule, you lack direction. You don't have direction. And when you don't have direction, you are not able to cover all the portions in your syllabus in time, every time. So what can you do to overcome this sort of a problem? You can create a plan, you can create a schedule, you can have some achievable goals for yourself, some realistic goals that you can set for yourself to actually study. So this is one. The other one I would tell is like procrastination, when students postpone. Like बोलते ना, बच्चे बोलते हैं अभी आज नहीं तो मैं कल करूंगा, कल नहीं तो परसों करूंगा, नहीं तो मैं एग्जाम टाइम पे करूंगा, तो मतलब मेरे से होता है. So like all these students, what they do is they keep on postponing their studying time schedules. So what happens is everything just adds up and they're not able to actually perform. So what can they do to fix this? They can start doing their assignments early on. As soon as they get the assignments, they can start working on it and start studying on a daily basis, bits, like not necessarily one whole chapter, maybe a little at a time. So this is one bad study habit. The other one would be having access to your phones. Nowadays, children are always with their phones, going through social media, checking their messages. So the best possible way to fix this would be to, stop all your notifications for some time, pause your notifications for some time, keep your phones away from your study table, so that the more you see the phone, you'll be tempted to actually check the phone. So if it is away from you, then you will not, have the temptation to check it. So then again, another bad study habit would be like cramming, the night before an exam. So tomorrow is the exam, and today the whole night the student sits and studies. So what happens the next day? The student gets tired mentally and physically, also tired and fatigued and not able to perform. So instead of cramming the night before the exam, I would say please have a sound sleep, eat well, drink plenty of water, have a good sleep, study a day before the exam, be prepared, and write what you know exactly very efficiently. Then again, there are like some students who have some very disorganized schedules and cluttered tables, and everything is in clutter. So first you have to organize your table, organize your schedules. So when you do it like this, your mind is free, you're able to focus and concentrate. Then also studying when you're tired. Some students do a lot of studies and they're all the time tired. So I would suggest that they take breaks in between, not study at long hours at a stretch, and not to study when you're tired. So this will help them, to actually concentrate and focus better. And for all this thing to happen, children should learn to eat, they should not eat a lot of junk food and unhealthy food. Yes, it might be very tasty, it might be very colorful, but it is not good. Like junk food can actually make you feel very groggy, tired. Sometimes end up having stomach upsets and health issues, which will invariably affect your study. So these are some of the bad study habits that children have to overcome, and they have to fix these in order to develop, like better studying skills. Yes,
Right.
that my take. Yeah.
So these are some bad habits, and dear students, you can fix them having a good discipline in your life. And
Yes.
here, Anupama ma'am, we want to know more about study habits. Why it's important, ma'am?
Study habits have been defined by scholars in different ways, as we have seen previously. And as ma'am has suggested a few bad habits that students usually follow, and then we cannot say rightly. So why are these important? Why do we need study habits? So next slide, please. So why are study habits important? So it helps improve learning efficiency and effectiveness. The more we read, the more effectively we read, it will help us to understand the topics better. Helps in managing time and resources better. When we keep our notes ready, when we keep our points ready, when we learn to manage the time, it helps to understand and to go confident to our exams. Helps enhance concentration and comprehension skills too. What happens when a student tries to read just before the exam? So he might not understand the part of the reading that he has done previously, or very in a hurry he might have read, or he might have mug up the things. That doesn't happen, and then the exam finally doesn't go well. So when you have a study habit with you, it will help you gain concentration as well as your comprehension skills. That is, your understanding ability of the curriculum will improve, as well as it boosts our confidence and motivation. So if I have read the particular material earlier in my learning time, so it will boost my confidence that I can do the exam better, as well as it will motivate me that I can go and perform well in the exams, as well as gain the good grades as well. So it helps us prepare well for exams and assignments and cope up with pressure. So it's like the exam pressure that has been predominantly more nowadays. So when you inculcate a very good study habit in you, so those pressure that comes will be avoided, as well as we'll be confident in going for the exams and as well as assignments. It balances our study effectively and helps us enjoy personal hobbies as well as interests. So when we learn to balance our studies as in a perfect way, so inculcating those good study habits, it will helps us enjoy personal hobbies and interests as well. Sometimes students might be very creative, that they may they'll be engaging in art, craft, dance, music, and many other kind of fields. But what happens when it is like exam is near, so they might be very anxious, as well as they might come in pressure that they have not paid more attention to their hobbies and interests, rather to mug up to the coming examination. So while if we develop a proper study habit, that will help us enjoy our personal hobbies and interests as well. So I suggest to inculcate study habits at the start of the academic year, so that students will be helpful, will be confident throughout the academic year. Yes, ma'am.
So there are so many reasons why study habits are very much important to all the students and learners. Ma'am, Anuradha ma'am, we want you to explain us about the study habits, right? So how can one student, any student, study smarter, ma'am? What are those points?
Yeah, sometimes what happens is we get a lot of complaints. Children say, even parents say, my child studies for 6 hours, 7 hours at a stretch, and yet they are not able to perform better. They don't get the desired results or the expected results. So what is happening is hard work is not enough. You need to work smart. You need to have smart work instead. So it is not important like how long you study. It is very important how you study. Like what are the methods that you adopt to study? Not like how long is it, how many hours you put in work on a particular subject. So first and foremost, I would say reading is not studying. Reading is definitely not studying. When you read, you are reading very superficially. But when you study it in depth. So in-depth reading is studying. And reading is just, when you can pre-read your lessons. When you pre-read your lessons before going to a class. So like, let us say, for example, tomorrow a particular teacher is going to teach a particular topic in science. So the child can do some pre-reading about that particular topic at home, go prepared for the class, and when the teacher starts teaching, the child is able to listen to the same topics again. So here learning happens both ways or in two modes, that is reading and listening. So when the child has two different modes of learning, it becomes easier for the child to retain at least some parts of whatever has been told in class and whatever he has studied. So then when he does an in-depth study, at the end of this, he's able to retain more and reproduce more. So this is very important. And some children have this belief that if I underline my difficult sentences or highlight it, then like I am doing some active learning. No, active learning is not just highlighting or focusing on few points. These activities can keep you engaged in a task. Like it can keep you engaged at that particular time, but it doesn't put anything in your brain. So what you should do, instead of that, you can formulate your own questions and try to answer all the questions. You can create a concept map that can explain all the materials that you have studied. You can derive examples from your own life, from something that you're seeing outside, to relate them to what you're studying. So all this is like a smart study concept. And because sometimes what happens is you tend to study a particular subject for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Some children say I spend 4 hours studying only science. But I would say please space out your lessons. If it is for 4 hours, study at least 3 different subjects in those 4 hours. Don't study the same subject for 4 long hours. You might find it boring. You might get exhausted. So if you're studying science for the first hour, try studying a lighter subject like a language or English, something like that, in a second hour. So it relaxes you also. You get rejuvenated, and you can go in for a tougher subject like a math subject. If it is tough for some people, they can go shift it to the third hour. So you mix and match your subjects in those 4 or 5 hours of study that you're doing. So this becomes very easy for the child, easy on the brain of the child, and the child feels motivated to do more. So this will lift a huge burden from the child's head. So this is one. And also in schools, there will be times, occasions when there are no homeworks, there are no classworks to write, there are no assignments, there are no projects, and there are no tests. So kids, what they do, they take it as a downtime and they start enjoying, they watch a lot of TV, they go out, they have fun, everything is fine. But the downtime can also be advantageous in some way, that they can schedule their times, they can start studying, they can go slowly on their topics, because usually after all this calm happens, there's a storm coming, like a huge exam or a huge project coming. So the child can actually prepare for that exam. So these are some ways where the child can learn to study smarter. Yes.
Okay. So a student need to study smarter as well. There are so many ways, dear learners, that you can inculcate in your study habits. Ma'am, as we still have a lot of time in our session left with us. So I actually wanted to know about the timetable about the student in order to better perform in any, whether it's test or exams for any student. What should be the timetable for any students, ma'am? What they should do, ma'am?
See, you're talking about the timetable they have to
Right.
set at home in order to study. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a good question. So many children feel like I need to wake up at a certain time and do this at a certain. Sometimes these structured schedules do help a lot, but at the same time, the child has to first what you call as different, like segregate his subjects as what is tough for me. What is tough for me need not be tough for her. So we all don't cannot follow the same timetable as we follow in school. School has the same timetable for all the whole class, but at home we all can set our own timetable. So what the child needs to do is sit and see which time is best suited for me to study. Some children are night owls, they do a lot of good work studying in the night. But some children are the early crows. They wake up very early in the morning and they can study actually very beautifully. They can wake up at 4 and do a great job. So first the child has to see it. What time is suitable for me as a person to study? When can I study? When can I perform the best? If like so the child has to first set the time. And the parents at home should also encourage the child. The parents can't say, no, you have to go to bed at 10, but the child is able to be up till 11 o'clock and do a better job. So the child can be encouraged to go to bed at 11, study and then go to bed and maybe wake up 1 hour late in the morning. I don't think anything wrong will happen then. So the parents also should encourage the child in setting up these sort of timetables. So the child should first know what time is best suited for him or her to study. So once the time is set, then the child has to segregate what subjects are difficult for me. Where do I need help? Where do I need to focus more? And even in a particular subject, what topics are more important to me? Or what concepts am I not able to understand? Where do I need help? Where can I perform on my own? Where can I be independent? So when the child is able to realize all these, the child can sit with the parents, chalk out a timetable, but he or she has to follow it. So that is very important. Just making a schedule or timetable is not sufficient. The child has to follow the timetable he has put for himself.
Right. So, Anupama ma'am, would you like to conclude the session, ma'am, in a brief?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Basically, these study habits are a set of routines that students need to adopt. So with the help of Sahyog here, so I would request each and every student to adopt a strategy of their own. As in, every child is different, so their thinking will be different. So in their own way, I request each child to follow a kind of study habit that will help achieve them good grades and then make them confident enough that they can score very well in the exams. So this platform is where I can find that I can reach out to each and every child. So I just request children to make their own study plan as well as follow it.
Right, and very well said. Each student, every student is unique and you have to make your own study plan. You need to manage your time, dear learners, and you have to have your timetable, and you don't need to study for long hours, and you need to motivate yourself throughout your study tenure. And it's time for me to wrap up this session, but before that, let me thank our expert. Thank you so very much, Anupama ma'am and Anuradha ma'am, for being with us and for this valuable information. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. And thank you so very much, dear learners and viewers, for being with us throughout this session. And before I wrap up this session, let me share some sessions we have lined up for you for tomorrow. And we will start our day from 8 o'clock in the morning with Yog Shakti, and we will be having our topic Yoga for Sinusitis. And at 12 o'clock, we will be having our teaching learning interventions for inclusive classroom session. That is for English second standard students. The topic would be little drops of water. 2 बजे हम उर्दू का सबक लेकर आएंगे तीसरी जमात के तलबा तालिबात के लिए, और हमारा उन्वान रहने वाला है तंदुरुस्ती और ग़िज़ा। 2:30 बजे का समय रहेगा इंग्लिश के थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, एंड द टॉपिक वुड बी बेस्ट फ्रेंड्स. At 3 p.m. we will be having our 4th standard students mathematics session and the topic would be field and fences. At 3:30 p.m. we will be having our another live interaction हिंदी के चौथी कक्षा के विद्यार्थियों के लिए और हमारा शीर्षक रहने वाला है मुफ्त ही मुफ्त। 4 बजे हम आपके लिए ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम लाएंगे। दिस प्रोग्राम इज़ फॉर 6 to 12 standard students as well as for the teachers and teacher educators. The topic would be safe gaming practices. At 5 o'clock we will be having our Sahyog session. This session is for 6 to 12 standard students और इन सभी सत्रों के साथ हम आप सभी से विदा लेना चाहेंगे। Me रेणु भट्ट along with my whole team taking your leave. You stay tuned to PM eVidya channels. नमस्कार. Good day.
सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।